Hey guys, welcome back. Now, Cathie Wood and the team at ARK Invest are back with their crypto analysis for the month, and this month's report had some huge milestones. If you didn't already know, there is something amazing going on right now with the newly launched Bitcoin ETFs. For example, did you know that just the Bitcoin ETFs alone are buying up not just all the Bitcoin that's being mined each day, not double the amount, but 12 times the amount of Bitcoin that is being mined each day. Now, obviously, it doesn't take Einstein to work out this is not sustainable without sending prices skyrocketing, and it's probably playing a part into what's sending prices higher right now. And so in this video we'll be covering all the best highlights and takeaways from this month's report, including the massive achievement just made by the Bitcoin ETFs, and it is a big one. Probably why the president himself, Joe Biden, just did this to his Twitter X account, now with over 200 million views. We'll cover the key price levels that ARK are paying attention to, and there are 3. And is there going to be fireworks at this month's CPI coming later today? And why ARK Invest still believe it's deflation that's on the cards. Okay, so first up, it's official. The Bitcoin ETFs have just made one of the biggest achievements in all of financial services history, getting millions of people's attention, including the president himself. So check it out. So in this video, you're probably going to hear me say first time in history quite a lot throughout, as it seems to be the theme of this month. Firstly, we're looking at the Bitcoin ETFs, and the reason we're talking about them again is because they've just made history. They are now the most successful ETF launches in US history. So it's a really big deal. Another first is that it's the first time in history that a whole bunch of ETFs on the same product went live at the same time. Again, this is something that doesn't happen. It's another first in history. 9 going out all at the same time. Now, obviously, we know that Grayscale, a lot of the people have finally been able to offload some of their Bitcoin, which they were forced to hold for a very long time. However, despite that, there's still been more buying than selling. So net is a positive number. Now, a better way to look at this I found recently was this. And this shows it a much better way, that this is a historical event. So this is the 25 most successful ETF launches in the US after 1 month of trading. So you may recognize GLD when that first launched the first month. You may recognize QQQ, that's only about halfway down the list. And it is BlackRock's IBIT that is the most successful ETF launch in history, followed by Fidelity. And we've even got 2 more making the top 25. So this is a huge deal, and it's going to be getting the attention of millions of people, investors, politicians, governments, all around the world. There is massive demand for Bitcoin. And as mentioned, of all the Bitcoin that's being mined each day, these ETFs are not just sucking up all the new supply, but they're sucking up 12 times the amount that's coming on each day. And this is probably why prices are now starting to break out. Now, the next big question is, what is next for the ETFs? Well, if you didn't know, it was a Bloomberg analyst that had been leaking all the data about the Bitcoin ETFs, about when they were going to launch, how they were going to look, and the success that they've had. So here is a 1-minute clip from this Bloomberg analyst. He's an ETF expert, and he's going to explain what happens now after a successful ETF launch.
And then do we go to an Ether ETF? Probably. And I think it just stops after that for a long time in terms of like actual cryptocurrencies. But what we also will see is the spaghetti cannon, which is the term Ben Johnson has for when an ETF is a hit, the industry throws everything at the wall. So we're going to have leveraged Bitcoin. We're going to have inverse Bitcoin. We're going to have covered call Bitcoin. We're going to go long Bitcoin, short gold. So one will be like S&P 500 plus a little Bitcoin. So this ecosystem is going to build, and then they're going to have options on the ETF. So you're going to be put and call options. That will attract the institutional investors and the traders. So this is how an ETF category is birthed. But the big thing you need is volume, and we've already got it. So once you get volume, you attract the sort of ones that want to get into the action, the options market, and then you're looking at a very vibrant category. So that's where I would see it all going in 3 or 4 years. Maybe we have 40 products, including all those other things, and we've got $100 billion, something like that.
So next up, the 3 price levels that ARK are tracking and keeping an eye on. So in black, we've got Bitcoin's price. Then in green at the bottom is the 200-week moving average, which is close to a 4-year average. In red, we have the on-chain mean price, which is pretty much the market average. So here, everybody is in profit as prices are setting all-time highs. Obviously, in the massive crash, the majority of people are now at a loss, and it wasn't until this breakout here that has really put people back in profit. And then finally, in green, we have the short-term holders, and these are people that have bought in just the last few months, and even the short-term holders are now in profit. And this is just from the last month. We know in the last few days, we've now had the breakout above. So happy days for Bitcoin. And just so you know, the 200-week currently sits around 30,000. The on-chain mean currently sits a little bit higher, 33,000, and the short-term holders is just under 40,000. So with Bitcoin breaking above 50, it's crushing the 3 metrics that ARK are keeping an eye on. Then again, another first is upon us. So something I noticed, I knew that Bitcoin had had a good start to the year. It was positive in January, and just look how February is going so far, up almost 18%. But we are close to another record, and that is the number of consecutive months being green. So starting in September, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will now be the 6th month in a row. And I took a look at Bitcoin's history, and I couldn't see another time where there's been 6 green months in a row. At best, there's a 4-month streak. The best one I found before that was a 5-month streak. A 5-month streak. We've had some 4 months, some 4 months, some 4 months, but never before has there been 6 months in a row. So again, add to this report another record for Bitcoin. Now, for quite a while, ARK have been pointing out that it's not inflation that's going to be the problem, but deflation. And some signs are beginning to show up. This one is the Bitcoin to gold ratio. And they were saying that Bitcoin has been a better store of value than gold. Well, the thing about gold, and one of its biggest benefits, is that it does really well in times of inflation. Because prior to Bitcoin, it was one of the only places that was known as hard money, something you couldn't just print. Well, since the arrival of Bitcoin, gold has really been struggling. And if we look at the gold chart, we can clearly see a lot of just sideways action. And for gold, ever since late 2020, when it peaked, for years now, it's pretty much just gone sideways. So if gold does really, really well in times of inflation, this is highlighting maybe we're going into a time of deflation. Also, ARK pointed out what was going on with new tenant rents. And as you'll see, after a massive spike caused by COVID, there's now a huge drop in prices. And in fact, it's a bigger decline than what happened in 2008. And this is also going to show up in CPI, another sign of disinflation and deflation. And then something exciting potentially happening today, and that is we'll be getting the CPI data for January. And last month's print was around about here, and as you can see, since then, real-time inflation data is predicting a big drop. Now, trueflation is usually still below what is being reported, as here it's about 2.7, where the last reading that we got was 3.4. So if this one is saying it's around 2%, then there's a very good chance today that CPI is going to come in the 2% range. Could be 2.9, even 2.8, or even better. And obviously this is great for risk assets. And so this latest run by Bitcoin may just be getting started. And so, some big milestones in this month's report. Firstly, it's official, the Bitcoin ETFs were and are the biggest ETF launches in US history. And so this should now be getting the attention of millions of people from all around the world, including even the president himself. Many are speculating has just flipped bullish. Amazingly, there is 12 times more Bitcoin being bought each day than is being mined, which is crazy. Also, we saw that Bitcoin is on track for a winning 6-month streak, which is something that's never been done in Bitcoin's history as well. Bitcoin's price action is currently crushing it, including staying well above the 3 metrics ARK Invest to keep an eye on: the on-chain mean, the 200-week moving average, and the short-term holders. And there are signs that it's now deflation that's starting to come through in the gold price, in rents, and Trueflation is predicting a larger than expected drop in today's CPI. So there you are, guys, some crazy things going on with Bitcoin and the crypto market. And if you have any questions or comments, then just let me know below. However, just remember to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments. We are trying out the new SuperThanks Commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use SuperThanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.